2008. About 9.5 years ago, the last time I experienced complete bliss. Chugging down Broad Street, chugging beers all night long. Don't really remember much of it, but I just remember crying, being a little bit emotional, being there on Broad Street, experiencing the scene right after Brad Lidge struck out Eric Hinsky in the 5th and final game of the 2008 World Series. We got the 4th and John boys on. We're going to talk about this game and what might happen to the city of Philadelphia if the Eagles do, in fact, win it all. So let's bring the fellows on. We got E-Rock, we got I Bleed Philly, we got Gail Saunders. How's it going?
Going fantastic, man. Thanks for having us on. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming to the studio and sharing time with 4th and John last Tuesday. And so we wanted to return the favor and show some brotherly love towards PhillyInfluencer.com and the Bitter Birds.
There you go, baby.
We're just living the dream, not as a dream team, but we are living the dream. Hoping for this big-ass Super Bowl. Feeling good, man.
Thanks for having us, man. Man, I'm so stoked for Sunday. I'm, like, excited, nervous. I was saying this on the show last night. I just cannot wait for Sunday, man. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
So the reason why I have you guys on for this specific show, because you guys are the perfect basically website / podcast. You guys know the pulse of Philadelphia sports. You guys know the pulse of the Philadelphia fan. So I'm going to ask you guys right away, what would it mean to the city of Philadelphia if the Eagles win on Sunday?
Yeah, why don't you start us off?
I mean, it's a game changer. I think I was talking to you about, it was my question is like, when the Eagles win a Super Bowl, will you be a changed man? I think for me, I know, the Eagles winning a Super Bowl is basically part of my whole personality. It's like, that whole fight, the get up and fight mentality, blue collar, never quit attitude. I mean, it's been part of my DNA. You get a Super Bowl. I think it would change the. I don't know. I don't think there would be Negadelphians anymore. I mean, don't you guys feel the same way?
I feel the same way. You know what? It would be great to say. You know how everybody says we have no rings, no rings. It would be just so great to say, be like, you know what? We actually have a ring, and it would be such a great feeling to actually experience a Super Bowl. Just the outcome of when we actually win it, the parade, the Broad Street experience. I know we're going to be there. It's going to be a hell of an experience. It'd be safe to say I'll be a changed man. My life is complete, pretty much.
The fact of the matter is, for the fans of Philadelphia, it changes everything. All the frustration, all the anger that we've been experiencing throughout the years, all the heartbreak and the disappointment from going to NFC Championship game to NFC Championship game to a Super Bowl and losing, to the heartbreak that was the 91 season when Randall Cunningham went down, to the heartbreak before I was even born, to the 1980 Super Bowl where they were favored against the Oakland Raiders and lost that one. All that we've been through, all the torment that we've been subjected to as a fan base, literally a city that's surrounded by Super Bowls, whether it be New York, the Jets even got one, Pittsburgh's got, 5, 6, what do they got?
We've lost count.
Baltimore's got 2, DC's got 3, the Giants got 4, Patriots got 5. We're the only Northeast major market without a Super Bowl. We're known across the league as one of the most passionate, diehard fan bases in all the NFL, with literally nothing to hang our hat on. So it would just be a justification of everything that our fan base is about, represents. I do think there will still be, inevitably, Negadelphians out there, but it's going to take a while for them to creep back into the picture.
Well, we should have won with Carson.
Oh my God! Oh, yo, there are actually people out there that don't want to win the Super Bowl because Carson Wentz is hurt, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, I mean, this story right here, you can't just replicate this. I mean, you guys you were there, E-Rock. You were there. The Rams game, flying back on that plane. It had to feel like a funeral.
It certainly did. And one of the podcasts that I downloaded for the plane ride back was Bleeding Green Nation. And listening to John Barcher literally shed tears on the air was heavy. And it was a real interesting juxtaposition because the fans out there in LA, they were just excited to see their Eagles win. Meanwhile, I could not celebrate whatsoever because I knew the gravity of what was now facing us moving forward. There was a point in time there where we were all talking about Super Bowl when the Eagles went on that 9-game win streak and how the future was so bright and how it was probable that we would be in this position that we are in now. When Carson Wentz went down, it was such a blow to all the hopes and dreams that we have. To now see them fight back and be in this position is remarkable.
Yeah, it's a Rocky story come to life. It would be, in my opinion, the greatest sports story of all time. Definitely the biggest underdog sports story of all time. To think that Nick Foles, out of all people, I mean, this is the ultimate fuck you to Chip Kelly right here. I mean, just everything that's happened with Nick Foles coming back. You know, he was the guy that got traded for Sam Bradford, the definition of mediocre. So he comes back, and for him to do what he did in the NFC Championship game, completely light it up, 350-plus yards, to do what he did, unbelievable. And just this story, how can you not want this Super Bowl? Come on! Some of these people, relax.
I mean, sometimes the universe is funny like that. And the universe lines up and things happen, and it's unexplainable, and you just have to sit back and say, you know what? You know, timing is everything.
Yeah.
Let's talk about underdog story. This is the definition of underdog story. Philadelphia's too much of an underdog story as it is, and just having a team like this that represents the Philadelphia Eagles. He was preaching this a lot during the show yesterday. This team really defines Philadelphia, and if they come out on top just on Sunday, it was just completely remarkable. The story would be unbelievable, like you said, Adrian. This would be one in the books, without question, if we pull this off.
This fan base, it's true, this fan base puts a very high priority on being able to identify with the team that's in front of them. Whether it be the Phillies and somebody not hustling the first baseline, you'll hear boos for that.
Yeah.
Whether it be Nelson Aguilar last year, kind of all up in his own head. Even if you look back at the Donovan team, people struggle to identify with Donovan McNabb because he didn't hate to lose the way that we hated to lose. So if you were to go to any Philadelphia fan and say, look, you have the opportunity to win the Super Bowl, but how do you want your team shaped? What do you want your team to look like? Do you want it to be Tom Brady-esque and the greatest of all time? Do you want it to be like I don't know, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where it's like dominant defense? What would you want your team to kind of resemble? I think that he would turn back and say we wanted to resemble us. People that never say die, they never quit, they overcome whatever's in front of them, they don't hang their head, they don't cry, they don't bitch, they don't moan, they work hard, they get back to the community, they're leaders, they're there for each other, they love each other, they do their job, they train hard in order to do that job, and I think you're seeing that in this 2017 Philadelphia Eagles team, which is why we identified with it so much.
Yeah, and E-Rock, you were talking before the show about how calm you are, and even how calm a lot of the city of Philadelphia is. It's a complete contrast from what we saw back in 2004, because that Eagles team basically, ran into a dynasty. Not that this Patriots team wouldn't be a dynasty; it would still be 3 out of 4 years for them. But that New England team back then, to think about what that defense was, not a lot of people gave the Eagles a chance. But this time around, it does feel different. There seems to be this feeling that they are going to pull this off. They are going to win. And who can you doubt at this point? You can't doubt them.
I mean, they're a football team that believes in themselves. I mean, every week that a player went down of a certain caliber, and even when it got to its worst, pinnacle with Carson Wentz going down, you saw the players backing each other. It's a strong locker room, and you have to give credit to Doug Peterson for nurturing that kind of culture into his locker room. Because at the end of the day, he's the guy that brought it all together. Like, if you have a coach instilling those values in the players, instilling those beliefs in the next man up, which is sometimes cliche, but you can see it in the players. Like a guy, the biggest concern for me was like Big V. Like, look at him, how he's developed. He's got more reps. Even Nick Foles, look at each game, now he looks more comfortable. And when he first came in, everyone was like, "Oh, what's wrong with him? The dude hasn't played in weeks." It takes time. And I think we're in a perfect spot. It's the biggest stage. I mean, he gave the best game of his career last week. He's gonna have to do it again.
What's funny about the whole Doug Peterson ordeal? When Chip Kelly left, remember everybody was questioning what Jeffrey Lurie said, we need the emotional intelligence in the locker room. Look how much has changed within 2 years since Doug Peterson's been there. He was obviously the perfect fit to bring that emotional intelligence to the locker room. And then you gotta give credit to Howie as well, bringing all these guys in with these crazy trades he's been doing the past couple of years. There's the reason why he got Executive of the Year. I mean, this team is built and has an amazing locker room, and it's just amazing how far this team has come. Like Gail was saying, with the injuries and everything, it's just really hard to put into words of how much of an underdog this team has been the whole entire season. Everybody's been counting them out, and they still count them out with the Super Bowl. It'd just be great to show the haters wrong on Sunday.
I do find it very interesting during the day when the Patriots were up and they were talking about their journey to the Super Bowl, and somebody either commented or asked Tom Brady about the Eagles' underdog mentality. Isn't that what you guys used when you won your first Super Bowl against the Rams? They were heavy underdogs in that Super Bowl. And what did they, the parallels to that Patriot, this Philadelphia Eagles team is kind of funny in the fact that their starting quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, went down. Yep. They were rolling before that. And then Tom Brady, much like Nick Foles is coming in. They got to that Super Bowl mainly on the strength of their defense and veterans on that defense. One name that comes to mind is Rod Harrison, who came from the Chargers, a veteran leader. Here we have a Malcolm Jenkins, who's a veteran leader. Yeah. And when he was asked about that underdog mentality, he kind of smirked and wanted to move on quickly. It was like, yeah, that's the same exact thing or theme that we were going for when we won our Super Bowl. And also something you got to consider, too, like when you take a look at the New England Patriots' victory, especially last year, they had something that they were playing for. Like Tom Brady got suspended. Tom Brady was angry. That entire coaching staff was angry. They didn't want to let their foot off the throttle. And now you have this team who, admittedly by Boston Sports Radio, is the second worst team that they've ever sent to the Super Bowl. The first being the second team that lost to the New York Giants. You've got an older Tom Brady with not so much the edge that he had last year. You've got this Philadelphia Eagles team coming in there with the underdog mentality that they used to have in 2001 or whenever that was. It's kind of an interesting juxtaposition.
I think that's why we're so calm, because we realize that this is not the same Patriots team that we're accustomed to. They have an offensive line that you can get after. I mean, this defensive line is the recipe to beat Tom Brady. Get after him, that deep penetration, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Chris Long off the edge. So you can definitely get after Brady with this defensive line. You got the secondary that's stepping up, getting better and better each week. I mean, what Jalen Mills is doing as a 7th-round pick in his second year, extraordinary. Ronald Darby has really picked up his play the last month. So this team, they're going to shock the world. And I don't think people realize it yet, but they're going to. And I feel the same confidence as E-Rock does. I didn't feel this 2 weeks ago. All right, like even before the Minnesota game, I was like, all right, maybe we're going to win. I hope we're going to win. But now it's like, I got complete confidence. I got complete confidence in Doug Peterson and what he's doing with Nick Foles. Foles has all the confidence in the world as well. He's not playing in the cold. They're not playing outside in Minnesota. They're playing in a dome. So they're going to pull this off, guys. This is going to happen.
And clarify the confidence that I'm feeling, because it's not like I'm sitting here like, oh, this is in the bag. This is the New England Patriots playing here. Tom Brady is, for all the pretty boy attributes has, that man is fast. Bill Belichick, a cold-blooded, calculated killer.
Oh yeah.
I don't want the confidence to come off as, oh yeah, we're winning this game. This Patriots. Like, I'm not pish-poshing off the Patriots. I just think that, as I said on our podcast, is the single best team that we've been to the Super Bowl. The Eagles fans have done everything they possibly can to will their team to this position. And at the end of the day, it's like it's out of our hands. Like it's out of our hands. So I have that calmness and just knowing that it's the best team we're sending. It's out of our hands. We're going up against a Patriots team that's not as good as years past. And whatever, it's almost like a whatever will be, will be.
For me, it's like when we have a defense, the way they play defense, the way they bring pressure, that's something that I continuously, I was in awe of. Like, by mid-season, I couldn't believe how well they were playing up front, and how deep they were. And I always felt comfortable. I'm like, man, I haven't seen this kind of pressure since the 90s. And I don't see why they're going to, like, let up at all. And at the end of the day, when Foles was in the picture, I'm like, he still played defense. We play defense in Philly. That's something that the fans embraced. And you're like, for Philadelphia, it's like, number one, you got to play defense. Like, you can finesse offense, is cool. But when you see a defensive lineman put fear in the eyes of a quarterback or a backup guard or a right tackle, you know that you can't stop a relentless pass rush. You got to be confident. You got to be confident.
Yeah. That's what I was saying on the show yesterday. They're wearing white jerseys on Sunday. I want to see blood and nothing but grass stains on that white jersey on Sunday. I'm telling you. We need to be. I'm not sure. You know what? When I was playing, I was looking on NBA or NFL Network earlier, and they were saying that Tom Brady had a dog history with this. He had a scar on his quad. That he got bit in his quad. I'm like, you know what? There's going to be a few underdogs that are going to be giving a few more scars in his body coming on Sunday. But
don't you love Media Day and all just the silly ass things that can happen? Today. You got Mac Hollins like doing Rubik's cubes. You got Tom Brady talking time, with his auntie and auntie, or auntie and uncle, in Minnesota, trying to endear himself to the people of Minnesota, and then you got Fletcher. Did you see Fletcher Cox?
Yeah, he had the Nacho Libre mask on.
That's awesome.
Those things are like selling out on Amazon. I was looking for one.
So got a custom, like it was by a Latin television network. So I did look it up as well, Gail, but I couldn't find an exact mask.
I found one on eBay that was just like it, and they sold out. So.
Oh wow!
Didn't take long.
All right,
going back to what you're saying about the dog marks. Yeah, that is funny when the dog. I bet he wished he was like, I wish he didn't tell the dog story.
Yeah,
you're gonna have Mike somewhere talking about him getting bit again by our dogs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's kind of quickly, briefly go through the matchup, and I'm just going to ask you guys this. The Eagles will win Super Bowl 52 if
they don't turn the ball over. That's it.
He pretty much took the words out of my mouth, and that just somehow, some way, you get Brady uncomfortable. If you can get Brady uncomfortable, you get the Patriots uncomfortable. That's the way I look at it.
They got to bring pressure, and they have to effectively handle the rub routes.
Ah, little rub routes. Yeah, Gronk over the middle setting those screens, huh?
Yeah,
so illegal picks.
Those rub routes are a big part of what they do. And I think Doug Peterson has to stick to the identity of this football team. You can't go away from their strengths and what they do best. I feel like if you watch the Jaguars game all the way through, you know, they took their foot off the pedal. You know, and a lot of us that were at the game or just watching the game, we saw Doug Peterson going for it with like 30 seconds left before the second half, before the half, and we're like, Doug, what are you doing, bro? But and then if you go and look at the Jags, you see Doug Marrone, 50-something seconds, running out the clock. So if Doug does what Doug does best, that's be aggressive, plays his game, and the rest of the team follows, I think that's what you got to do. So
to piggyback and kind of echo what Gail said, I've heard so much that you're going to have to outsmart the Patriots. You're going to have to outsmart Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. If you stay within your own game and do what you do well and continue to do that well, which is pressure the quarterback, run the ball, use the play action pass and the run pass options to open up the offense. You play sound defense, you play aggressive defense, and you stay within your skill set, and you don't turn the ball over. I mean, I'll line this Eagles team up against anybody, including the Patriots.
Yeah. I think another thing that's going to be important, I don't know if Jim Schwartz is going to do this because he likes to play a lot of off coverage. I think it's important in this game to jam a little bit, to disrupt the timing, because Tom Brady gets rid of the ball quick. We know this. So the best way to kind of defend that is to jam Brandon Crooks at the line of scrimmage. Jam Rob Gronkowski if you can. I mean, he's a mammoth man, so that's not easy to do. But that I think is very important as well. So get after Brady, but also jam the wide receivers at the line of scrimmage to disrupt the timing.
I'm super excited. I want to see that pressure like bust pipes. And once we get to a point where we see Fletcher Cox and bringing Brandon Graham on the inside, against their guards, get ugly.
Yeah,
and that's where I really want. I mean, you really just got to be aggressive, man. You got to put a hand on a player. And I think it's funny how like all the talk is about scheming to stop Tom Brady and Belichick, but they forget that they got to stop. I feel like our offense. I mean, our defense is better than their defense. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree with that.
Our offense has a better chance. Our defense has a better chance of stopping their offense, and their defense has a better chance of stopping us. So I feel good, man.
Yeah, they are 30th in pass defense, so they can be had. Screens is kind of the way to go, just from watching that AFC Championship game back again. Corey Grant was doing that in the flats. The other thing, working the middle of the field with the tight end. So if Zach Ertz is matched against Patrick Chung, that ain't fair. So let them put him on him. I think the other matchup is Nelson Aguilar against Eric Rowe. I think that's key as well, because Rowe is more an outside guy. He's kind of like stiff-hipped. He likes to be physical, press the line of scrimmage. So I think he can be had. Nelson Aguilar could be an underrated kind of under-the-radar player that we're not thinking about right now, but I think he could have a huge game.
As long as they're controlling the ball and converting on third down, they're going to be fine. You're right, Gail. The conversation so much about scheming against Brady and Belichick, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You're 100% correct. The defense is not as good as the Eagles' defense, or as good as the Eagles' defense. But one thing that they're forgetting is, the offense is not playing against Brady well. Yeah. And if you're able to control the time of possession, if you're able to move the sticks, if you're able to keep Brady on the sideline, quite frankly, he can't hurt you. If you look at that first matchup, I believe it was week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they ran the ball for, I believe, 180 yards, and they controlled the clock for like 37 minutes. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Tom Brady, as magical as he is and as great as he is not going to be will you to back to victory if the Eagles are controlling the ball for 37 fucking minutes, putting up 180 and rushing. It's not.
Adrian, you were saying about Nelson Aguilar. Could you imagine if he got the Super Bowl MVP? Want to talk about underdog story, man, for what he had to deal with last year, and then somehow this coming from the rise and just puts out the show in the Super Bowl and gets Super Bowl MVP. That'd be pretty something special right there. Want to talk about underdog? That'd be amazing.
There's like so many stories, man. Like if Nelson Aguilar wins MVP, if Nick Foles wins MVP, just absolutely insane. Wow. But you know, we'll see what happens this Sunday. So we'll kind of go around real quick. We'll do some picks, and we'll kind of quickly get out of here. So what you guys thinking?
Picks? Prediction?
Yeah, you're hesitant. You seem hesitant.
we had talked about it. Like it's almost like I got forced out of score. Like I really don't care what the score is as long as we win. You know, I go 28-20. You're gonna force it out of me.
Would it be easier to do who wins in Super Bowl MVP? You want to do that?
We can do whatever. It's your show, bro.
All right. We're gonna do that. I'm switching on the fly. So who's gonna win and who's your MVP? Obviously, actually, fuck it. We're all picking the Eagles. So who's your Super Bowl MVP?
I'm gonna go with Nick Foles.
Okay.
The quarterback that leads the city of Philadelphia, the fan base to Super Bowl. Gotta be a fucking MVP for Nick Foles.
Yeah, I agree with Gail. If it's not Nick Foles, then maybe Fletcher Cox. Maybe Fletcher Cox will be
deep penetration.
Nick Foles. Let's go 285 yards passing, 3 touchdowns,
Ooh!
0 turnovers, and I don't give a shit what the score is, as long as Betty's green.
Confetti's going to be green. We'll see if the Gatorade bath is green too. It was yellow during the NFC Championship game, so we'll see who wins the prop bet there. Now Fletcher Cox is going to be my MVP. I originally had Nelson Aguilar on the PI podcast last night, and then about 30 minutes later I switched it to Fletcher Cox. I look at that guard matchup against Shaq Mason. He's got no shot. I also look at maybe even Brandon Graham, because Marcus Cannon, their right tackle, is injured. I couldn't even tell you who the right tackle is right now, so that could be a huge mismatch as well. But Fletcher Cox, that deep penetration, getting into the backfield, collapsing the pocket, that's what you got to do, and that's what I think they're going to do. So Fletcher Cox, I'm going to go with 1.5 sacks, and one of those sacks is going to be a strip sack.
You know, Joe Thuney could be he could have his hands full too.
Yeah.
They're hard.
Yeah, left guard. Yeah, Timmy Jernigan, if Brandon Graham gets lined up on him, mismatch. There's a lot of mismatches on that O-line. So Nate Solder is solid at left tackle, but the rest of their line, you know.
And don't forget the Patriots during that Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. They gave up 3 sacks to defensive tackle position.
Yeah.
So
Grady Jarrett, I think, had a big game.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they're able to get pressure up the middle, you know the pressure is coming from the edge. And, a lot of their offense is based off of timing. So, Adrian, like you said, if you're jamming the receivers, disrupting timing there, and you're able to push up the middle and disrupt the timing there, they can't run the ball. They can't. It's not a big offense regardless. So, you know, that's why when Gail says, hey, defense, like this is going to be the deciding factor in the game.
Yeah, with the Patriots, it's really about, you know, they play the best situational football of, like, in the NFL. They're just so well-versed. You know, Belichick has them doing the most random things. They practice the most random things. So when they get situations, you know, they're prepared for it. So, you know, if we just got to beat them in that department.
Who's that?
Either there's a fire.
Siren's coming. Is that
they're already calling the ambulance for Tom Brady.
It's already been called. All right, so we'll just kind of go around really quick. What's your final thoughts, and then we'll kind of get out of here. So that's what we'll do.
Final thought on the game is just try. It's gonna be stressful. There's gonna be a lot of anxiety. Try to enjoy the game as best you can, and you know, come Monday morning, if they win this, everything changes.
Yeah.
For us, just enjoy it.
Yeah, I would say, you know, as Eagle fans, just live in the moment, man. Like the feeling like that you're feeling right now, and the way you're excited. I mean, that's called being alive. And, you know, some people are afraid to like, you know, put their feelings on the line, but let it all hang out, man. Enjoy this moment. It'll make the moment even sweeter. I think it's going to be a great ball of energy that shoots through the roof or breaks through the surface of the planet. When the Eagles win, it's going to show up on radar. It's going to be crazy, dude.
Be ready to see a lot of green confetti on that TV Sunday night. Prepare for the biggest party of the century in Philadelphia. Coming Sunday night all the way through Tuesday. Through the parade. Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever the parade is. It's going to be the party of the century and then some. And I can't freaking wait for it. Philly fans better be ready.
48 hours of just non-stop partying. Get ready. Take Monday and Tuesday off. Just let you know. So, Wednesday too? You want to take Wednesday off too?
I'm doing it.
All right, just take the whole week off. Just take the whole week off, then. That's what you should do. All right, so those are the 4th of John boys. Obviously, check them out. Actually, you tell us where we can find you.
Well, you can find us on Twitter at 4th and John, on Instagram at 4th and John, and then we have our Facebook page /4th and John. We are broadcasting from New Media Studios now. Unlike Philly Influencer, we do shut it down at the end of the season. So we've gotten everything we could possibly ask for. An NFC Championship game tailgate at home, and shows all the way going through the Super Bowl. So our last show, win or lose, going to be a win. But win or lose, we will be back on New Media Studios Tuesday at 8 o'clock, streaming live, taking your phone calls, and probably having the biggest studio party with guests and listeners and beer chugging and beer bong baptisms.
There you go.
Make sure you do not want to miss that show Tuesday at 8.
And you can still check some content out on fourthandjohn.com. We'll still be providing content throughout the year. We got draft coming, so y'all draft nerds.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
I got to catch up on the Senior Bowl stuff. It's all on my DVR. There's more important things to watch right now.
Right, I'm the same right now.
All right, so we'll end it there. SoundCloud though, right? That's where you can find your podcast. On SoundCloud?
SoundCloud, iTunes. It's hard to find a place that we're not. So type in the search bar 4th and John, and something to entertain you will certainly come up.
All right. So there you go. There you have it. 4th of John, thanks a lot, obviously, for coming on. I am Adrian Fedku. I am out of here. We're out of here. Enjoy your Sunday. Eagles, go Birds. Or should I say, go Birds!